Hello, welcome again. I am happy to be making these lessons for you, and I'm excited to talk to you about building chords and making a song with a 1-4-5 chord progression today. Might sound like a lot right away, but the first thing that we need to go over is what is a chord, right? So a chord, in a nutshell, and I got our little keyboard up here again for us. A chord in a nutshell is when two or more notes are making sound at the same time. So you'll see at the top right here of your screen, where my cursor is, that there's a little thing that says C major, right? That just tells us our key. So we're going to work in C major again today. Right, just like we went over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All that jazz you know. So when I play notes on it, if I play two notes at the same time, it'll tell me what kind of chord it is, or what it sounds like. Cool. So it'll tell me whatever. So chords are more than two notes sounding at a time. It could be up to however many notes you want to make it. It'll tell you up there what kind of chord it is. Right? The more notes doesn't always mean the better, but sometimes you can make different effects by adding different notes. Right? All right, what's the next definition? Triad. So the basis of a chord. 3 notes stacked every other letter to spell the basic chord structure. So an example is a C major triad has the notes C, E, and G. Cool. So the easiest way to make a chord is you start at a note, right? And then you just skip notes in between. And if you play 3 notes, you've got your basic triad. Cool. Now we're working in C major today, like I said earlier. So we're working just with this scale. We're using all white keys. So you can do this in any scale. If you wanted to do it in G, right? If you wanted to make a G chord, you'd skip every note. But you would also have to incorporate this note here that's in the G scale. Cool. But we're working in C for now, and I want you to try to make this project in C. All right. So our triads that we're using are going to be connected to that scale. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Yeah. So if I play a C chord in C major, it's a 1 chord. Yeah. I can also call it a 1 chord. 1. Make sense? If I play an F chord, I can call it a 4 chord because it's 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm building that note off, or that chord off of F. Yeah. If I played a D chord, what would it be in C major? It would be the 2 chord. Yeah, you'll see that there's a D, M. Some chords, when you stack them like this, every other note, have different functions. So there are major chords, which are happy sounding, and there are minor chords that are sad sounding. Those are the ones that we're going to work with today the most. So you have your C chord, major, D chord's minor, E chord's minor, F chord's major, G chord's major, A chord is minor, and then your B is called diminished. And then goes back up to C, which is major. So if we go back up to here, you see these numbers. 1 is major, so it's uppercase. 2 is minor, so it's lowercase. 3 is minor, so it's lowercase. 4 and 5 are major, so they're uppercase. 6 is lowercase because it's minor. And 7 is lowercase, and it's got the degree sign. The degree sign tells us that our 7 chord is diminished, right? So if we're in C major, our 7th chord is B. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We stack a chord off of that. it's B diminished. Cool. So those are your functions in the major scale, right? You can build a note off of, or you can build a chord off of every note in your scale. Yeah. Now that's just how to block them up. Yeah. You're just going to be blocking your chords up and making triads out of them for now. Harmony is a combination of simultaneous sounding musical notes to produce chords and chord progressions having an effect. I had to change this definition a little bit. In the dictionary, it said a pleasing effect, and that's not true because it's not always pleasing. It's just an effect. Okay, so you can make a chord progression that's not pleasing. Today, the one that we're making with 1-4-5 is usually a pretty pleasing one. And a chord progression is usually a repeating pattern or a usually repeating pattern of chords that is the harmonic base of a song. Yeah, so usually your chord progression will repeat itself. So I'll just throw this on so I can get time, and I'll show you how a chord progression would work. So sometimes I go 1, your 1 chord, 4 chord, maybe back to your 1 chord, then your 5 chord, now what I did was play them in their root position and play them in triads. If you want to do that, you can, but there are other ways to make chords sound good, right? The best way to make chords sound good is to spread them out. So you have to take your pitch inventory, which is something that's very important. Let me write that in our lesson here. Now, in the beginning, you might want to write them down. In the beginning, you might want to write down your pitch inventory. So you're saying, okay, if I'm making a song in C major and I can use the 1 chord, the 4 chord, and the 5 chord, whenever I use the 1 chord, I can use the notes C, E, and G. So let's spread that out around the keyboard a little bit. Let's skip the E for now, do C, G, and then you can repeat them too. C, E. Now listen to the difference in the chord. As compared to. Right? Now I can bring it down the octave. The more you spread them out, the easier it's going to be to feel warm. Yeah, you're going to get a little more warmth from your chords if you spread them out. Now, the beauty of doing this on a music technology program is, let's say I'm going to do my chord progression. I'm going to play, I do it by bars. Don't do it by like, I'm going to do 2 beats of a C. Start with just full bars. So let's say I'm going to do 2 full bars of a C chord. I'm going to do 2 full bars of an F chord. Then I'm going to do 2 full bars of a C chord, then 2 full bars of a G chord. Cool? So I'll do that here. You can record it this way. Then you can stop and change your fingering, right? You don't have to do it perfectly. You don't have to go straight up and through the whole thing. So I said C, then F. All right, now I'm going to record my Fs. Oops, my bad. Make sure you start this in the right spot. Cool, so that started in the right spot. Great. I played that one in root position, then I added a little C in the bottom to make it sound a little better. So I'm going to go back to my C chord here. Maybe I'll change the voicing a little bit, which is what this is called. Maybe I'll go to this one because I like this one a little bit more. Cool. Then here, I'll record my G chord. Let's see how I want to voice this. do this, copy it, paste it, and now I have a chord progression. So this is my C chord, which is my 1 chord. Still on 1. Then I'm going to my 4 chord, which is F, back to C, now I'm going to G, which is my 5 chord, awesome. Now if you want, before you start, you can add a beat in front of it. Sometimes that makes it a little easier, so like I found this one earlier and it sounds kind of cool. Let's throw this behind it. You can make a beat, or you can take one from this for this project. It doesn't make a difference. I'm more worried about the chords. The chords are hard enough for this. Cool. So I want you to make a 1-4-5 progression in C major. And I want you to voice the chords. You can use your triads to figure them out. Right? You can use these to figure it out. But I'd rather you space them out because they're going to sound better. Now, one last trick I want to show you before we go and you dive into this. You can record over stuff. So if you're uncomfortable playing all this at one time, you can make it even easier. You can do that. I just played a C by itself. If you record over it, it adds to it. So now you got 2 notes. Makes sense. You can do it with a 3rd note. Or more if you want. Now you got everything. Cool. Make it as easy as you need to. There's no shame in doing it that way, where you stack it yourself, right? And then you can go in and edit all these things like we did in Tech 1, where you edit the attacks and everything, right? You can go in and quantize it all. Now it'll sound nice. Yeah, obviously mine has a lot of human error in it. That's because I didn't go in and quantize every little thing. But to make yours nice and spruced up, you can quantize it, get it all to the beats. Yeah, but this is going to make a big change in your music writing, right? Developing the knowledge of chord progressions is super, super important. And take your pitch inventory. Start memorizing the pitch inventories of chords, right? So you should know in your head that a C major chord is C, E, G. You should know F major is F, A, C. Eventually, when you start changing keys, when you go to D major, right? If you go to D major, know a D major chord is D, F sharp, A. Know that an F sharp major chord is F sharp, A sharp, C sharp. Cool? You got to memorize these things. And it takes a while, right? I've been working on this for a long time, and I can name these off the top of my head, but it takes a lot of practice to memorize it. So start slow. Start with C major because it's the easiest one. There's no accidentals, right? And then once you finish this up, if you finish it quickly, you can try to make another one in a different key. All right? Have fun. Good luck. Make it at least 16 bars too. Let's go 16 bars for this one. Have fun.